As Jupiter enters the sign of its exaltation, Cancer, it runs into a red light as it squares Saturn and Neptune. This will affect 2 weeks in June and bring inner frustrations and outer roadblocks in the shapes of delays, restrictions, and conflicts with difficult authority figures. I am here to tell you more and to break down this transit for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal relationship predictive readings. I really appreciate you joining me for this in-depth analysis of the upcoming Jupiter-Saturn square. It's definitely going to be a tricky one. This is luckily the last Jupiter-Saturn square. We've had 2 last year. So on a level, if you look at it in that regard, we already have a lot of experience. Before we dive in, I appreciate your support, so please leave me a like, a comment, subscribe, press the notification bell, watch more of my videos, or say thank you by buying me a tea, a coffee, a croissant, some kind of token of appreciation. Anything you do is very much encouraged by me, and I am grateful to you guys. If you're seeking personal guidance, you'd like to work with me, and you want me to take a look at your unique birth chart, to talk about your natal promise, to talk about the year coming up. We are in a very transitional, life-changing year in 2025. You can book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. On there, you can also sign up for my natal astrology course. It begins in September. It will last 3 months, and we will cover the foundations of astrology, helping you read charts, read your own chart, live life full of empowerment and clarity. This is my goal, and I am aiming to teach astrology in a very understandable way so that it's not just a lot of concepts, but it actually is applied to your everyday life. All of that is at anastasiadoesastrology.com. So today we're talking about the Jupiter square Saturn and Neptune. Like I said, we've already had Jupiter square Saturn in 2024. The first square was in mid-August, August 19th. And then we had the second one on December 24th. So you can give it at least 10 days on each side and reflect back to see what kind of obstacles, what kind of inner frustrations, or maybe outer restrictions were you dealing with at this time. This is a twofold transit because Jupiter first squares Saturn on Sunday, June 15th, and then it squares Neptune on Wednesday, June 18th. This, because it lasts for a while, this is active all the way from the moment Jupiter enters Cancer, which is Monday, June 9th, into Tuesday, June 24th, where I choose to no longer regard it as important because we're entering Jupiter Cazimi, which is arguably the luckiest time in June. There's a new moon in Cancer, and the energy begins to shift in a very grandiose, dramatic, powerful way. So we have to get through this, and then we will feel the more positive Jupiter in Cancer effects. In order to talk about this, actually, before even that, the square between Jupiter and Saturn happens at approximately 1 degree Cancer and Aries, and then between Jupiter and Neptune at 2 degrees Cancer and Aries. So this will affect you the most if you have planets between 0 and 5 degrees cardinal signs, and those are Cancer, Aries, Capricorn, and Libra. So take a look at your chart and look at the degrees, and you can see if you have planets in those placements in the first 5 degrees of those zodiac signs, then this is extra important to you. So let's break it down. Jupiter is the planet of growth, expansion, optimism, good luck, and abundance. It is going towards the sign of its exaltation, where it will bless us with stronger intuition, stronger focus on health, stronger desire to nurture people, relationships, and projects that we hold dear. Jupiter is about growth. Jupiter is about hope. When it runs into Saturn, Saturn is a difficult energy. Saturn is our revizor in Russian, or our test guy, somebody who checks things up. It's like the director of a factory or the dean of college. Saturn is there to be serious, to check your work, to make sure you're ready to sacrifice, compromise. So Saturn may be, okay, I know you're excited about this, but not yet. So very literally, Saturn could be like, nope, limits, restrictions. The good news, it's the last Jupiter-Saturn square. So it will teach you, it will encourage compromise and sacrifice, but it will likely usher you into a new trajectory, right? A lot of times we actually move towards new things in life when things are difficult. It's very rare for people to just be motivated by the beauty around them. When things are beautiful and nice, we like to enjoy it, right? Some people are motivated by wanting things to be even better, but a lot of times difficulty is the greatest force that pushes you. So I think when Jupiter squares Saturn, because this is the first aspect, you deal with a roadblock, you deal with some kind of restriction, maybe a financial hardship. You want to buy a house, but the bank rejects your mortgage for whatever reason. Maybe some kind of authority figure standing in your way. You want to move to France, but your visa gets delayed or your job falls through. A relationship tension, right? A realization that the relationship doesn't have staying power, that it's going to fall apart. Your beliefs, your ideals may get tested because Jupiter is very idealistic and Saturn is realistic. And so what happens when Neptune also comes into the mix? Jupiter first squares Saturn and then it squares Neptune on Wednesday, June 18th. And Neptune feels disappointing. Neptune brings disillusionment. So you run into a roadblock and instead of getting excited because there's a harmonious aspect to Neptune, instead you're like, what's the point? So you may suffer from a temporary lack of faith, lost hope, disillusionment, disappointment. It's the moment in which you've fallen in love. Let's say Jupiter, you've fallen in love and you think this is the one. And then you find out that they're married and they haven't told you. And so the illusions, the ideals, everything sort of crashing down. And with the square to Neptune, there could be a tendency to see things even worse, to be on a brink of depression. This is not going to last. This is not like the energy that's going to push you over the edge. So don't get discouraged because we do have really, really good energy coming after this, but it is a hurdle that you have to get over. If you fall right down there in front of this hurdle and this roadblock, I cannot help you. But if you work through it, if you see the light, if you sacrifice, compromise, if you hold still instead of pushing harder or figure out solutions, then the rewards can be really powerful and life-changing. I will tell you to be really careful at this time to avoid following false leaders or trusting people that are maybe offering you solutions. It is not a good time to take risks. It's not a good time to follow some kind of get-rich-quick scheme. It is normal to feel suspicious and doubtful of people in your life. Just do not rush to cut people off and sort of get into this mindset of like, nobody loves me, nobody cares. Like, don't succumb to that. I highly recommend Jupiter and Taurus products that I have because Jupiter and Taurus, when I created it last year in 2024, it was co-present with Venus. It's really good for creating abundance in your life, for manifesting your desires, improving your finances, helping you create stability. You can find that on my website. And also, since we are in a Saturn in Aries period, Saturn is in its fall in Aries. I still have 4 or 5 of Saturn and Aquarius candles, and these will sell out, and I'm not going to make another batch for the next 27 years or so, maybe more like 25 years. So definitely pick up Saturn in Aquarius or Jupiter in Taurus. Jupiter in Taurus is good for creating abundance, for improving your optimism, and Saturn in Aquarius is all about structure, discipline, diligence, and reaching mastery, and not being afraid to deal with hardship. Because I was just, I'm like, I've been doing these videos on Saturn. I've been thinking a lot about Saturn, and I'm looking again at Liz Green's book to continue talking about Saturn. And she actually says it's such a beautiful quote. So this is Liz Green, Saturn, A New Look at an Old Devil. Let me read it to you. I wasn't planning on it. I literally just read it because I was looking at other ideas for videos. But she says, Saturnian aspects, each Saturnian aspect on the birth chart may be seen as a heavy cross to be borne, an affliction which dooms the individual to frustration and limitation and loss, and which must dutifully be endured because it cannot be changed. So this is your perspective, one side of the coin, where Saturn is just obstacles, just difficulty, doesn't teach you anything, just pushes on you, and you just have to carry it because this is part of life. Or the Saturnian aspects, Liz Green continues, may alternately be seen as opportunities, and each planet touched by Saturn may be considered to have offered the possibility of a deeper, richer, and more purposeful expression of its meaning. I love that. I think it's so beautiful because by crystallizing, by drawing attention to the planet, Saturn teaches you to do better. So here we have Jupiter at the beginning of its cycle, in this exuberant summer sign of Cancer, right? New beginnings, new projects, new love, new relationship. And Saturn says, yes, but have you prepared? Are you ready for things to get difficult? What kind of sacrifices are you ready to make? Do you have what it takes? Are you sort of structured enough? And please share with me, what is it for you? What do you think? Watch my Jupiter in Cancer video. What do you think is this next year will be about? What are you working on? And if you don't mind, mention your sign as well, so we can all look and see how it relates to us. But don't look at Saturn and don't look at Neptune as just the buzzkill. It's here to bring really important big lessons. So let's take a look at the 12 zodiac signs. I recommend listening to your rising sign. If you seek personal horoscope, if you want to know how this affects you because you have important points in your chart between 0 and 5 degrees, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, do book a reading. I am a traditional astrologer. I bring the tradition of hundreds of years of astrology into my readings, which adds a personal touch and helps me guide you, helps me answer your questions. And again, consider registering for my course. It begins in September. And in only 3 short months, I will whip you into shape so that you can live life with more purpose, meaning, and clarity. I'm so excited. I can't wait. So let's start with Aries rising. Jupiter in your 4th house squares Saturn and Neptune in your 1st. So Jupiter is entering your 4th house, bringing attention to home, family, living situation. There's a desire to grow. Maybe you're seeking a new place of living. Maybe you're building an addition to your house, or you're redesigning, you're adding an office outside of your space, or you're building a pool. There's some kind of growth, some kind of nurturance, or you're working on building a garden, right? It could also be about welcoming a child or starting a family with Jupiter in Cancer. Even moving, right? Moving to a place that is more comfortable, that is more familiar, moving to be with your family. And then the square to Saturn and Neptune in the 1st house brings an obstacle in the shape of inner doubt, insecurity, and a lack of belief in yourself. That is what Saturn and Neptune slowly but surely encourage you to work through. It will encourage you to learn to believe in your leadership skills and your powers and your assertiveness and your entrepreneurial skill, whatever it might be. So working through the inner doubt, working through obstacles that involve your health. This is also a possibility. You're thinking of starting a family, and then Saturn and Neptune in the 1st house make you realize that maybe there are some medical procedures that you really need to do. Your work life, your schedule, just a sense of being so busy, so overloaded, so kind of pulled in a variety of directions that you really have no time to pursue things that you want to be pursuing. So of course, Saturn and Neptune urges you to compromise. It urges you to figure out a way to solve this without sacrificing the ultimate vision. Maybe the vision needs to be adjusted. Maybe you just need to rethink what you're going for or how you're going for it, the speed you're going for it, and figure out a different workaround. I highly recommend my Jupiter in Taurus candle for you guys. It falls in your second house of money, so it can bring abundance, more stability financially, more comfort and optimism. You can find it at anastasiadoesastrology.com. On there, you can also book your personal reading to find out how this activates your chart. Saturn just entered Aries, Neptune just entered Aries. You're entering a really, really major time of change in your life. So if you want to know how this all will affect you, how it will change your life, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com and register for my course on there too. Cannot hurt, will only make your life better. For the lovely Taurus rising, Jupiter in the 3rd house will square Saturn and Neptune in the 12th. Jupiter in the 3rd is this fresh new energy that is related to your mind, to your ideas. You're brainstorming a business idea, you're maybe writing, or you're venturing on a path of writing. You're connecting with your interests and passions. You're registering for a natal astrology course, perhaps with me. But some kind of new influx of ideas and passions and pursuits. Communication projects, right? Maybe a blog or a website or a partnership with a sibling. Some type of like a new powerful opportunity, I think. And then it runs into a square to Saturn and Neptune. And this to me reads as some kind of unresolved karma. And this could be so many possibilities because Saturn and Neptune have just entered your 12th house. They will be in your 12th house for the next 3 years. Saturn, Neptune, even longer. And it will force you to sit with, to get quiet and to sit with yourself and sort through self-doubt, let go of self-doubt, sort through your maybe self-defeating tendencies. There could be bad habits that are slowing you down. Maybe you drink a little bit too much. Maybe you seek out drama and you're not aware of it. Maybe you're still holding on to an idea of your ex, even though it's been 5 years and they've moved on and you're just sort of in this place of being in limbo. Maybe you're afraid to take a leap of faith, right? With Saturn and Neptune in the 12th house, how are you standing in your own way? And how can you work through it? Do you need to start doing therapy? Do you maybe need to learn astrology? Again, sorry, I know I've said it already, but I am teaching a course. It could be a really great time for you guys with Jupiter entering your 3rd house. Maybe you need to start doing yoga, meditate more, commit to your spiritual health because you cannot just keep pushing yourself to keep going. So it can even bring some kind of like emotional breakdown or just like sadness that is hard to understand. And there is an opportunity here to figure out a way to solve it, to figure out a way to move past it and maybe take better care of yourself. There might also be a tendency you have that maybe has to do with other people, where you kind of let other people walk over you, which is also another example of a self-defeating tendency. Or with Saturn and Neptune in the 12th, there may be some kind of matters outside of your control. Saturn and Neptune in the 12th could also be your visa gets rejected and you were trying to start a travel blog and so you have to work through it, or somebody in your life, like a grandfather or family member, gets sick and so you kind of your desire to get things going and to jump into a new pursuit gets slowed down. So it's another, here there's an opportunity to learn to cope with things outside of your control and again sort of go within and figure out how you can nurture yourself. Last thing that I can see here is potentially maybe bringing your interests and your passions and your maybe hidden tendencies into consciousness through embracing them and turning them into a part of your idea. Let's say you're starting a blog, but you realize that you have some kind of addiction, some kind of problem, and then you make it part of your blog instead of pushing it away and being like, no, this is not a quality of me that exists or a quality of me that I admire. Instead, you welcome it and you embrace it and you take it with you. I do recommend my Jupiter in Taurus candle for you guys. It falls in your first house. It's perfect for abundance, growth, manifestation, finances. If you've had a really good year from June 2023 until May 2024, this is why Jupiter was in your first house. So pick one up on my website. On there, you can also book a reading, register for my course, say hello, and talk to me. For the lovely Gemini rising, Jupiter in the second house squares Saturn and Neptune in the 11th. This feels as a sense of not being supported. This feels like Jupiter is going into your second house and you have a new idea. You have a new business proposition. You have a new plan that you're bringing to your allies, you're bringing to your friends, you're bringing into the world through social media, and you get shut down. You get told no, you get told we're not interested, you get some negative comments, which happens to all of us, right? It takes, again, Saturn teaches you perseverance. So there might be a sense that your community is not on the same speed with you yet. They haven't caught up to the greatness of your idea. So maybe it's just a question of rewriting, rethinking, rediscovering what you're trying to say. It might be your time to take a step back and then rethink who your allies are and how, what kind of people you surround yourself. Are they true friends or are they just kind of, taking advantage of you and not supporting you? So opportunities to rethink your friendships, opportunities to rethink your alliances, opportunities to maybe be more thoughtful as well with how you spend money and how you spend your energy, what you invest your energy into. A chance to not give up on an idea, but figure out a workaround. You will it's not even that people reject you, but you might literally just, you come to a publisher with your book and they're like, this is half baked, go and figure it out. And you may feel really discouraged, especially with that square to Neptune, and disappointed and disillusioned, but things do get better. Jupiter eventually will conjoin the sun, we will get the cazimi, and things will smooth out. However, with Saturn in Aries for the next 3 years, there's still going to be some heaviness around friendships and alliances. I do recommend my Saturn and Aquarius candle as a way to remediate that. You can find it on my website. On there, you can also book a reading and register for my course. If you are a Cancer rising, Jupiter in your first house squares Saturn and Neptune in the 10th. This may feel really frustrating because Jupiter is in your first house. It is very embodied. You feel like Jupiter. You feel ready to nurture your passions, to start new projects, to take better care of your health, to maybe go out there and become a business woman or a man. And then Saturn and Neptune in the 10th house are authority figures, people in power that say no to you, say you're not ready yet, say sit down, do more work, pull out more papers, do some proofreading. It could feel difficult, right? It could feel like there are some people stopping you, literal opposition, other people. You're more likely to project it because with difficult aspects from Saturn, we often perceive them through other people. A question for you: could you be resistant to new beginnings? Could you be afraid of what might happen? Sometimes other people manifest the energy that we believe internally. That is a big question. Do let me know in the comments below. If, however, you feel ready and other people are saying no to you, this doesn't have to be forever no. It is more likely to be not yet, a red light. Slow down, stop, think about it. So maybe this is an opportunity to go back to square one, to rethink something, to repurpose something, to approach your new pursuits in a different way. Be definitely aware of what you're thinking, what you're saying, what kind of energy you're putting out there, because Jupiter in the first house does say that whatever you believe will manifest. You just need to focus on believing things that you actually want to happen. If you need help with manifestation, my Jupiter in Taurus candle is awesome. Exalted moon or moon in Cancer, anything that is lunar, because you are lunar, can be very helpful for manifesting your vision. Jupiter in Taurus falls in your 11th house of community, networks, friendships. So it can bring blessings in the shape of alliances and support of people in power. Find it at anastasiadoesastrology.com. On there, you can also register for my course or book a natal chart reading. We have a lot of changes, year ahead reading to look at the year coming up, relationship reading, astrocartography to see what the best place in the world is for you, or electional astrology. There's a lot of options on there. For the lovely Leo rising, Jupiter in the 12th house will square Saturn and Neptune in the 9th. So Jupiter in your 12th house, it has just entered into your 12th house. It encourages you to connect with your spirituality. You're maybe driven to escape, to get away, to go travel, go on a trip, to go to a spiritual place, yoga, ashram, a spiritual place according to your religion, you know, like a landmark. You're maybe driven to tap into your imagination, write something, or you're driven to study astrology with yours truly. My course begins in September. Consider taking it. But Jupiter is guiding you towards this more hidden, private, spiritual place or places. And then there is the square to Saturn and Neptune in the 9th house immediately. And this could be a teacher, a guide saying something that takes you aback and you're unsure and you're like, well, maybe, let's say you want to become a yoga teacher and you go to a yoga class and somebody tells you, oh, you don't have the body type, you're too old or something like that. There shouldn't be yoga teachers like that, but I have heard examples of some yoga teachers. One yoga teacher I've heard kind of shaming someone based on their weight. So you can hear some kind of restrictive comment and it upsets you. Let's say you're a writer also and you feel ready to publish your work and you're told that no, it's not up to par, it's not fully finished, and so you may feel really disappointed. The tendency here with the square to Neptune might be to just shrink under the heavy weight, the heavy eye of the authority or people in power. Your teacher says something, a legal person, a lawyer, or like a lawyer tells you don't have a case, or a teacher tells you you didn't do a good job. Saturn wants you to take a step back and reconsider. Maybe you need to rewrite something. Maybe you need to reapply for that visa. Maybe you need to redo some of the work that you've been doing. It doesn't have to be a no, you're not meant to do it, but it could be an opportunity to take a step back and pivot and adjust. And maybe hear the message that Saturn is trying to bring your way. I think Saturn and Neptune in the 9th might also encourage you to find faith in yourself. If there are other people that you consider authorities and they're offering you this feedback that is negative and just harsh and doesn't offer you any solutions, perhaps you don't need those people to approve of you. Perhaps you need to figure out how to be your own authority and your own person in charge. And we are going to have Saturn in the sign of its fall in Aries for the next 3 years. I do have a solution. I make candles that are intention oriented. So this is Saturn in Aquarius. It captures Saturn in 2023. When I created it, it was still in Aquarius. It can be really good for sort of shaping yourself into a master, being diligent, persistent, and succeeding, reaching your dreams in whatever field you desire. Find it at anastasiadoesastrology.com. On there, you can Book a reading, find out what's coming up. We have a lot of important changes this year. And register for my natal astrology course. It begins in September. For the lovely Virgo rising, Jupiter in the 11th house squares Saturn and Neptune in the 8th. Jupiter in the 11th is really powerful. It's not only exalted, it's also in its house joy. There are new dreams that involve community. There are goals that you're maybe working on that involve starting a podcast, starting a YouTube channel, starting a partnership with someone. Maybe you're getting more involved with volunteering or some kind of nonprofit organization. You're driven to nurture people. And it could be about more maybe close people to you, your family, your biological family, or your chosen family. But you want to make an impact. You want to advocate to people about social issues. You want to advocate about health. You care. And then there's a square to Saturn and Neptune in the 8th house, and there might be some type of restriction that comes from the lack of resources. Maybe you have a vision for starting free breast exam clinic, or gynecology clinic, and you realize that it's really hard to gain finances, and maybe you hear a rejection from like a financial officer. Jupiter in the 11th, maybe you're dreaming also about buying a home, and so Jupiter might be squaring Saturn, suggesting that your mortgage gets rejected. There might also be some kind of debt that you find out that you need to pay, or some also like karmic obligation that you have to another person, karmic obligation you have to your family, some kind of duties that are slowing you down. And so, of course, with Saturn and Neptune, this may feel heavy, this may feel disappointing, and like it can make you question things and wonder. I slam myself into things so much, so many bruises all over. Gotta be careful. So yeah, it can make you slow down. It can encourage you to compromise, perhaps, and figure out solutions. If there are any karmic debts, relationships, obligations you have to other people, this could be your opportunity to figure out how to clear them, how to pay them off, how to compromise. So do not get discouraged. Instead, keep moving slow and steady, and things will work out. If you're looking for more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com to pick up a candle. Jupiter in Taurus is really great. Book a reading. It's a very transitional year with a lot of big changes, and we can talk about your year coming up, your natal chart, astrocartography to tell you the best place in the world for you. I can help you elect a date for your wedding or other important event, do a relationship reading. On there, you can also register for my course, so definitely check it out. For the lovely Libra rising, Jupiter in the 10th house will square Saturn and Neptune in your 7th house. So Jupiter in your 10th is the beginning of a new wonderful chapter in your career. It suggests that you're growing, you're expanding, you're starting a business, you're starting a new passion. Maybe it involves health, maybe it involves exercise, maybe it involves nutrition, or you're just growing in your career and you're experiencing a period of professional renewal and better reputation. And if you're no longer working, this could be about your public life and opportunities to be more visible, opportunities to connect with people that are like-minded, opportunities to teach or to study. Highly recommend my Jupiter in Taurus candle if you're looking for more optimism and wisdom and abundance. It is a healthy Jupiter, which can actually boost Jupiter in Cancer even more. But anyways, with all of that exciting Jupiterian energy, at first it's complicated by the square to Saturn. And Saturn and Neptune are both in your 7th house, which can bring up difficulty in your partner's life. And if you're single, partner could be your landlord because you have a lease with them. Partner could be your mom because you live together. Partner could be your work boss or work partner, right? There is some kind of heavy energy in the house of relationships. Maybe somebody in your life gets sick, your significant other gets sick and you need to take care of them, and that slows down your professional progress. Maybe your partner, a business partner that you were relying on, falls through and no longer wants to do business with you. Some kind of roadblock and red light and delay that involves relationships, contracts, agreements. You're in the process of negotiating something new, the Jupiter square Saturn and Neptune, and you find out that the negotiation didn't quite work out. Maybe a partner gets fired, and so you were about to take a major leap of faith and start a business, but your partner got laid off and you can no longer take that leap of faith because now you need to be the sole provider. So while frustrating and difficult, there are solutions, there are workarounds. This energy does begin to lift off at the end of June, and we have a beautiful Jupiter cazimi and a new moon in Cancer on the 25th and 24th. Cazimi on the 24th, the new moon on the 25th. I am definitely going to make some magical once in 12 years Jupiter cazimi and Cancer candles. Be on the lookout for them. For now, Jupiter in Taurus is the next best thing. So get through it, stay hopeful, stay patient. It will lift off, but there may be a chance for you to actually step up and take more responsibility and be the one who starts a business alone, or be the one that for some period of time takes care of additional responsibilities in your relationship. It could also be the time to set better boundaries, to assert yourself, to speak up and deal with some kind of friction, authority figures, or challenges that may come up. If you have anything to share, please let me know in the comments below. If you remember what was your career like the last time Jupiter was in Cancer, from June 2013 to June 2014, that might be a lovely thing to share too. If you're looking for more guidance, if you want to know how this affects your unique birth chart, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com and register for my natal astrology course. It begins in September, and it will cover a lot, helping you read natal charts, helping you understand yourself, live life full of power and clarity. If you are a Scorpio rising, Jupiter in the 9th house squares Saturn and Neptune in your 6th house. So here you're dealing with tension between your desire for growth, your desire for travel, your desire for adventure. And with Jupiter in Cancer, adventure might involve a new job that maybe is healing and nurturing. It may involve more time spent with family. It may involve parenthood. It may involve some kind of nurturance of what you're passionate about. And it could be very varied person to person. But 9th house is connected to education, travel, writing, publishing, legal matters, your faith in the world, your beliefs in the world. So something is expanding within you. Something is changing. The last time we've had Jupiter in Cancer would have been June 2013 into June 2014. So reflect on that and be like, how is this time now similar to that? The square to Saturn and Neptune brings roadblocks from your work life. You're thinking of studying nutrition, and the square to Saturn and Neptune, your hours get increased or your hours get cut. So now you're struggling to afford it. There may be more responsibilities, just a very, very heavy life, heavy workload. Saturn and Neptune in the 6th house, you have a little child, you have a busy job, you're taking care of your family, you have 2 pets, one of them just got sick. So there might just be such a heavy, busy energy that in the immediate, it feels really difficult to imagine how you can unite the two. But Saturn and Neptune wants you to do what? It wants you to compromise. It wants you to slow down. It wants you to find a workaround. It's likely going to feel frustrating and maybe impossible, especially when we're like in the midst of it, June 15th into 18th, to see the light. But the light is there. We're going to have Jupiter cazimi on the 24th, the new moon in Cancer on the 25th. If you're enjoying this energy and you want some help, the moon in Cancer 3 is really powerful and really good for manifesting and for helping with difficult transits. So stay at it, stay patient, and things will definitely improve. If you're seeking more guidance, visit my website, book a reading on there, or register for my natal astrology course. It begins in September. For the lovely Sagittarius rising, Jupiter squares Saturn and Neptune in the 5th. Jupiter is in the 8th. Jupiter is your chart ruler. It has just left the sign of its detriment, where it spent the last year in Gemini, and it went into the sign of its exaltation, Cancer. To me, this reads as new partnerships. It reads as new opportunities to join forces in a creative partnership, in a family union, in a marriage, some type of agreement, right, that maybe is brewing. There may be a mortgage or a loan that you're working towards getting, or an investment that you're considering. And then there's a square to Saturn and Neptune in the 5th house, and some kind of restriction, roadblock, frustration, delays coming from the sector of romance, pleasure, parenthood, and children. Romance. You find out that your partner has debt that you didn't know, or you thought about the future with this person and maybe you hear back from them that they're not ready for a future yet. And so you need to ask yourself whether you want to keep investing into the relationship, whether it has potential, or maybe you should move on or at least figure out some kind of solution. Children, you find out that you're pregnant, or your child maybe needs your help paying off some debt that they have. Some type of seriousness needs to happen that involves children, romance, pleasure. There might also be some kind of heavy weight of needing to take responsibility for your passions, needing to approach things seriously, maybe not rush into spending money, not rush into kind of entering an agreement. Instead, you need to take a step back and be like, is this good for my relationship? Is this good for my child? Is this good for my life in general? So it's the kind of like read the fine print type of energy. There may be also some important conversations around parenthood and children, around business, creative partnerships, around romance that are making you realize that not everything is as you imagined. And of course, Saturn and Neptune together, they're here to take the veil off of the dreaminess, maybe things that look too good to be true, and get you more in touch with what really is. And then once you know what is and what exists, you can compromise, you can figure out solutions, you can find a workaround, which is what ultimately Saturn and Neptune are here to teach us. Saturn will be in Aries, which is the sign of its fall, for the next 3 years, which could bring some difficulty involving like relationships, children, creativity into your life. I do recommend my Saturn in Aquarius candle. This one was created, and oils too. They were created in 2023. They capture Saturn in the sign of rulership. We're not going to have it for the next 25 years or so. So pick one up. I still have like 4, so they're not going to last. You can find it on my website. You can also book a reading on there to get personal insights into your chart, or register for my course, which begins in September. For the lovely Capricorn rising, Jupiter in the 7th house squares Saturn and Neptune in your 4th. Your relationship your family. Relationship versus family. Your desire for dating versus your responsibilities to your home and your parents. Your new contract and agreement versus your existing mortgage and your existing agreements, perhaps. Your obligations, your karmic duties. So Jupiter in the 7th is powerful for relationships of all kinds, right? It blesses you with good partners, good associations, good advisors, and you're starting to feel ready for like a new beginning. At first, in June, Jupiter has to deal with Saturn and Neptune. Jupiter does run into the square to Saturn and Neptune in the 4th house. And there is some kind of heavy, serious energy that you need to address that involves home and family. So this could be some kind of friction between, your partner and your family, or you and your partner's family. Maybe some kind of like, oh, we love each other so much, but his parents only want him to marry a Jewish woman. And what are we going to do? What does he want? Can we deal with this sort of misalignment of our values, our backgrounds, our families not getting along? Maybe there is some kind of like relationship opportunity that your partner is getting and it's taking them abroad, but you have an ailing family member that you need to take care of. Or again, maybe some kind of relationship, partnership, new contract, new opportunity, but then the pipes in your house break, or you need to fix something that is happening in your house. So there might be some kind of literal, pressure on your foundations, pressure on the structure as your home and living situation that needs to be fixed. What is happening for you? Are you feeling this at all already? Are you feeling the pressures in the house of home and family? Are you feeling the increased sense of responsibility? Do let me know. And if you're looking for more, book a reading at anastasia.astrology.com. Register for my course on there and pick up my Moon in Cancer 3 candle. It falls in your house of relationships, and it is just what you can use to improve the energy of Jupiter even more. Check it out. If you are an Aquarius rising, Jupiter in your 6th house squares Saturn and Neptune in your 3rd house. And with Jupiter in the 6th, you are working. You are inspired to do work that is healing. You're inspired to volunteer, to foster animals, to help animals, right? You may be driven to do some kind of project that is like nurturing, or maybe you're fixing something in your home, right? You're building things. And then there's that square to Saturn and Neptune in the 3rd, and there is like a logistical issue, or there is a delay. You're being told, no, it's not going to take a month, it's actually going to take 5 months. And you're like, where am I supposed to live if you're fixing my apartment for 5 months? There may be some kind of scheduling issue. You're excited about a new project, about learning nutrition, exercising, studying yoga, studying astrology. I am teaching a course in September for 3 months. Join us. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it will help you find the inner power and confidence and clarity. But you're focused on something. There is a sense of new beginnings with Jupiter there. And Saturn and Neptune in the 3rd say that, is your everyday life streamlined? Are there literally maybe some obstacles, right? Like Saturn Neptune in the 3rd house could be your car needs to be checked, your engine light is on, or your space is cluttered, so you don't even have kind of mental capacity to put a desk in and study for whatever it is you're excited about. There may be pressures and responsibilities involving siblings, and maybe some friction with neighbors, and all of it is weighing really heavily on your mind. Another possibility is thinking of heavy thoughts, and you may be thinking negatively about stuff and really restricting yourself through self-doubt and through not being able to see solutions. So this is your opportunity to be flexible, to adapt, to adjust to the changing environment, and declutter, streamline, compromise, let go of some duties, responsibilities, time wasters that are not serving you. Let me know how was Jupiter affecting you the last time it was in Cancer, from June 2013 into June 2014. And if you're seeking additional support, really like Jupiter in Taurus, it's powerful. It falls in your house of home, family, living situation, can help improve those matters if you're looking for that. Find it at anastasia.astrology.com. On there, you can also book a reading, register for my course, say hello, join my newsletter, so many things. You can also pick up a subscription to chat with me every month, or get written horoscopes every month. For the lovely Pisces risings, Jupiter in the 5th house squares Saturn in the 2nd house. A conflict of values, perhaps. So Jupiter has just entered your 5th house. It is abundant. It is fertile. It is creative, right? Jupiter in the 5th is the time to follow your passions. It is the time to start writing, or start dancing again, or spend more time with family, or have children. This is the most fertile period in every 12 years you get. Just be careful if you're not interested in having children. Use extra protection, because you're likely to be really, really fertile. It's the exalted Jupiter in your house of parenting children. And so you are moist. Jupiter is Cancer is a water sign, but you are like fertile, you're focused on having children, you're maybe creatively also inspired, romantically you're driven to date, you're looking to sort of meet new people. Yet there is that square to Saturn and Neptune that we're dealing with in the mid-June, and it's in the second house of money, values. So maybe you're excited, but financially you're not steady yet. You're not happy with your money. You're focusing on like investing into family, building your passions, but there are some kind of debts you have to pay. Or there are maybe conflicts of values between you and your partner in regards to having children or in regards to creative projects. So Saturn and Neptune will suggest that you potentially need to move slowly and you need to think carefully and you shouldn't just maybe dive into things. It could also be connected to maybe you're meeting a new person. Jupiter is entering your 5th house and there's a new romance, but you realize that you're coming from different backgrounds and maybe they never see you as a serious relationship. So then you need to ask yourself whether you're okay with it just being a fling. You may be also needing to look seriously at your tendency to overindulge, overspend, maybe even your bad habits, right? Jupiter in the 5th house can really boost your desire to enjoy life and take pleasure in it. And Saturn and Neptune in the 2nd is like, no, you have to get serious. No, you have to be discerning. But most likely it feels to me like some kind of opportunity, but maybe financial restriction, financial blockage, like a major payment, a major purchase you're making, or a debt you're paying off that is limiting your finances. So move slowly, move carefully. I do have Jupiter in Taurus is really good for financial abundance if you're seeking help with that. Find it on my website. This is also your chart ruler, and Jupiter in Cancer is also your chart ruler for the next year. So the two like each other a lot. On my website, you can also book a reading to get personal guidance, to talk about your year coming up, your relationship, your natal chart. I also do astrocartography and electional astrology, and you can register for my natal astrology course. It begins in September, and in only 3 months, you will learn about astrology. This is not for everyone, but it is for people who are serious about taking control of their life, finding more clarity, using the cosmic energy to their advantage. So check it out. Thank you for watching. I hope you are looking forward to the more positive aspects. This one is an important one. Saturn is always here to teach us major lessons, and without Saturn, we'd all be lost and adrift. So let's thank Saturn and let's look forward to what it will teach us and what will come later in the month. For now, I will leave you with that. I'll talk to you soon.